What up, what up, what up, what up, what up, YouTube? Welcome back to another episode of Just Dropping In, where we drop in on the latest and greatest content going on that's probably got the world in some type of panic. We give kind of a perspective from a hedge fund manager and young entrepreneur's standpoint. Now, if you guys don't know who Meet Kevin is, you guys should definitely go subscribe to him. He must spend all day, every day, just like going through reports and data and information, just like from a more like political standpoint. Like we as traders, you're usually always going through some type of data and information, but just more so on like basis of looking up for information about our about or for our trades. So he kind of dives into the political side that I don't really have as much time to really sift through and really dissect. So we pull up some of these. Sometimes it's PBD podcast. Sometimes it's different people who are spending their time every day, all day looking at this, and we kind of give our perspective on it from the eyes of the bird himself. That's me, Drip Sparrow. I'm a hedge fund manager and entrepreneur, former D1 athlete, so I have a bit of a different perspective of some people on everything going on, so I'm able to provide a little bit more context, if you will. So if you think you're gonna get some value out of this, go ahead and hit that like button, hit that sub button, and that bell icon, and make sure it tells the algorithm this is good content and needs to be pushed forward. But without further ado, I want to talk y'all heads off. Let's get into it. Apparently a whole bunch of stuff's been going on, and I've been pretty busy coding and whatnot, so I've been kind of tapped out of it. So we're gonna learn some new information together, y'all. Let's see what's going on.
So Donald Trump just broke down a Q&A session where his head is in regards to tariffs when it comes to other countries, including China.
Yeah, see, I didn't have time to see that Q&A session.
What was reported by the Financial Times, which is that Trump is expected to exempt car parts from China from fentanyl tariffs, which means car parts would be exempt from some tariffs, but not all of them. Trump might exempt steel and aluminum from tariffs, as well as some other car makers like GM could benefit from some other exemptions. We didn't actually hear anything about that, but we did hear a lot around Donald Trump's mentality when it comes to tariffs, and then, of course, the education executive orders, which I'll go through all of that in a moment. So Donald Trump, of course, as usual, talks about China ripping us off. This is very typical. And then when he's asked about, well, are we talking to China? Donald Trump says, of course, we talk every single day. But I kind of think what he's being asked from reporters is, do you talk to China about tariff negotiations every day? But unfortunately, the reporters don't think to ask that. So
Not
I think
like,
when Trump says, yeah, of course, we talk to China every day.
They're asking.
Can you please just hear me out? No.
Man, we gotta add, but I'll go ahead and talk through it for a second. It's more so the fact that like the media is somewhat controlled already. You know what I'm saying? So it's like they're asking approved questions. And it's like, even still, we're not going to act like Trump's administration is just super unicorn and not going to control the narrative just a little bit. You know what I mean? Like previous administrations
Pretty much every country, every single day, we have embassies in the other countries. So, yeah, you could, without lying, say we talk to China every single day. But that doesn't necessarily mean we're talking about tariffs every single day. Now, Donald Trump and Lutnick say we've spoken to 90 countries so far. They all want to make deals, says Trump. He says, we were losing $3 to $5 billion a day, kind of implying that we're making that now. But remember, the Customs and Border Protection report that we got about a week ago indicated that in about a 12-day span, it doesn't matter that much.
I like to see data and information. I don't like to just see people talk.
And we are in the
Apple it's just
App
his
Store.
freaking app.
But what we did is we actually built
good plug.
We make great cars. Cool. So we're building that into the app just to make it a little easier and nicer user experience for folks.
Y'all invest.
So
I invest in the
like
house
that
app
so far. It's still in a beta though, so we're open to your feedback. Anyway, back to tariffs here. This talk about 25% tariffs on cars on Canada. Donald Trump suggested that at some point that could go up, which is weird because now he did say it's not being considered at the moment, but he triples down on this idea of like, we really don't want Canada to make cars for us, okay? We make great cars. Mexico took a lot of our car business too. We don't like it. We don't want their cars. We want our own cars. We can make our own cars. Our cars are great. We don't need them. Little does, he seem to recall that like the whole point of the USMCA was to integrate manufacturing between Mexico, the United States, and Canada.
Yeah, indeed.
These really complicated supply chains were really built between the three countries here.
Yeah, I'll say, like, Trump definitely didn't let the U.S. prepare itself for this trade war. It's like, strategically, it's not the worst move that he's pulled, but at the same time, it's like strategically, China was ready for a trade war. They were ready to devalue their own dollar in order to fight this inflation that we're basically trying to cause in their economy and force their hand to the table. And it's like, if we would have had more things ready, like more manufacturing already brought to the home soil, like I feel like it was may have been smarter if he would have came out the gate like, all right, we might tariff y'all, and then not do it, and then convince some CEOs, have some meetings, you know what I'm saying, grease a couple palms, and bring some manufacturing back to the States first. Just a little bit, at least just enough to that shows the people, okay, this is like happening, you know what I mean? And then you start, a trade war with tariffs, and then you start leaning on with that pressure. Americans are not liking it because of the fact that, like, they don't want to usurp all of this labor that Trump's trying to just smack the country with all of a sudden. And like what I mean by that is, like, our CEOs, American CEOs, have been outsourcing so much labor to these other countries for two reasons. It's cheaper, and Americans have gotten fat and lazy over the past couple of decades. And in light of that, there's less people that want to do labor intensive jobs now, you know what I mean, than like two, 3 decades ago. And it, like I said, in light of that, they're gonna just go look elsewhere, go look to where there's people that want to work and that are willing to work for cheaper. In essence, kind of glorified that in a way for a long time in the business world. But now it's, we've gotten to the point where it's like all the other countries we're outsourcing this labor from are, they've been dumping their products here, and Americans been buying them. So now we're at an impasse where we need to bring the manufacturing here to kind of level out the playing field and bring other people, because nobody else has, I mean, not nobody, but China doesn't have too much of a reason to come to the table outside of the fact that, like, socially they do have a reason to come to the table. Socially, like right now they're not, I don't know how crazy the riots are, but I have seen a few videos here and there of some riots going on over there in China because their economy is suffering from what's going on right now. But our economy is suffering relatively as well. Now, we don't have Americans panicking in the street, so I guess that could kind of signal that we're winning, because there's Chinese citizens panicking in the street right now over everything that's going on. So, like, strategically, it's like China should win, but socially, they're not winning, So, and by should win, I mean, like, based on, like, current factors and everything that we know, I think the whole world was a little surprised at how prepared China was for this. Granted, they were getting prepared for a couple of years. If hindsight is 2020, you know what I'm saying? Like, we didn't, I don't know. Not enough analysts decide to look at, I guess, how China's been preparing over the past 5-6 years. But I feel like if all of their preparation would have been brought to the table for Trump, he might not have went about it the way he did, but he did. But I don't want to talk y'all head off. Let me let Kevin talk y'all head off for a second.
Thinking that we would have free trade. So a little complicated here. This comes, by the way, at the same time as there's now Amazon and Walmart seller hoarding of goods, mostly third-party seller goods, which, third-party sellers make up like 60% of sales on Amazon. A lot of them are shipping stuff in from China to Canada, and they're just waiting for the tariffs to go away. But it doesn't actually sound like there's any kind of real progress on Chinese negotiations. Flexport argued last week they saw a 50% increase in imports to Canada from China. Because people were warehousing it up in Canada, waiting to bring it in here. But, USMCA tracks country of origin. So you can't really bypass as easily as you might think. And keep in mind, we lost a lot of our manufacturing prowess, not just in the 70s through Nixon's price controls, but also through Reaganism. And kind of in part the failure of unions to work with businesses. It could have been the failure of business leaders too. But, unions are pushing for higher wages, which of course could make America less competitive. And then it's really on business owners to have a productivity roadmap with the unions to keep America competitive and these businesses competitive. But that didn't happen. And this is how Japan really took over autos in the 80s, and how unions and business owners today are just making American manufacturing less competitive. It's how we've lost our trade skills to some extent. And now we look at the UAW and they're doubling down on, Trump, you're doing great with protectionist tariffs. That helps union members today, but it actually hurts them long term. What we really should be looking at is how can we work together with stimulating trade school and new trade education, providing incentives for that. And then we can grow our manufacturing here.
Yeah, now, and that really touches on the preparation that Trump should have done before doing this, like having easier roadmaps for people to gain the skills to work these jobs that we're trying to bring to home soil, giving out incentives for that education, so people want to go get that education. So there's more people in the pool that can take over these jobs in in manufacturing, in tech, in agriculture, where we're not dependent on like anybody for real. You know what I mean? Like, he preaches America first, but he didn't get America right first. You know what I mean? So I think the goal definitely should have been to kind of like get those roadmaps lined up first, so it would be easier for us to actually win something like this. Who's calling my phone? 1 second, chat. Hello? Zdravo Ali. Nobody. That's happened twice today. I think. I know my business line is on the website, and that does actually, my business line actually does come to my actual phone. Don't please blow up my phone. I will make me just change my business line, y'all. A second call. Odd. They'll leave a message or text me if it's that important. But I don't really want to keep y'all too long. I'm not trying to like waste y'all. It's not too much outside of the fact that like we haven't seen much progress on our side as far as signing deals, closing deals. We have signed a few deals. We have signed a few with some other countries, but as far as with China, we're still butting heads. China said they not down to quit, and Trump not down to quit. So it seems like our economy is gonna take a little bit of a hit for a little while longer. In light of that, though, for all the traders out there, we know where certain markets are going because of that. And if you aren't a trader, you're looking to make some extra money, I definitely recommend you get tapped in, hit the sub button, because I drop trading videos all on the channel. You should go check a few of them out after you watch this. Learn it. It's a really good skill to have. It makes it so you don't have to, depend on an employer or anything like that for your income. You can always just, turn your money into more money. That's the beauty of investing. Honestly, it's literally like printing money once you become good at it. We have a course actually designed to teach people how to do it. We have a whole bunch of free education all on the YouTube channel and whatnot. So I'm inviting y'all to go check all that stuff out. Maybe you learn about something that you didn't know was your next love. You know what I mean? Before I was a trader. Granted, I was only like 15 before I was a trader. I started trading at like 16, 17. But before that, I didn't have a love, a passion as far as like in a professional sense. I guess like I like, you know, I was a track star. I still am. I run track, but yeah, in a real like professional sense, you know, who was I? Who am I? I'm a trader. I'm a hedge fund manager. I am an asset manager in my core. I like to manage assets and manage funds and move them around and things like that. That's what I like to do. But I also like to stay tapped in with politics. It makes it easier to do my job with finances. So that's why I invite most people that are getting into the investing space, get versed in world politics, in foreign policy, things like that, because it makes it easier to understand what's going on and anticipate what's going to happen next. All right. If you got value out of this, make sure you hit that like button, hit that sub button, and hit that bell icon. All that tells the algorithm that this is good content, needs to get pushed to more people. All right. Shout out to Meet Kevin. Y'all go subscribe to his channel. He definitely drops really good updates. Make sure everybody's tapped into what's going on. He tries to stay pretty unbiased. That's why I appreciate him. He's definitely a little bit more. He's like a liberal conservative, really. Like not like he's not liberal or conservative, but he's like a liberal conservative. You know what I'm saying? And I think that just happens with anybody once you start getting real money. In the U.S., like you just kind of like get your eyes opened up to a lot more things, straightforwardly. But I'm not, like I said, I'm not gonna talk y'all head off. I love y'all. Make sure you're kind to somebody today. I'm gonna catch y'all on the next one.